And I have a little story. I did have a story about this thing around my eye, and but Ann Gurley told me she had a dream last night that me and her husband Sid went out looking for girls. If that were the case, I'd still be home unconscious, I can tell you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day that you have given to us. Thank you for the privilege we have to be together. Thank you for the Residents Association, the Resident Board, and those newly elected to the board. Thank you for their service. And Lord, we just pray that you will bless this meeting today, lead us and guide us in your direction. Thank you for Erilyn and Ryan for their leadership here on campus. And Lord, we pray for Chuck as well as his new president here of the Residents Association. Bless him in this time of service. And we thank you and guide us through this day, we pray. Amen. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you. I'd like to both introduce our new board members and some of our old board members and some of the officers. I'm Chuck Schneider. I have become... Working okay? My coach is back there. Okay. They've allowed me to become president. Our former president did a great job. Roger Compton is now the vice president. Roger should get a round of applause. He did a super job. Our secretary is Sally Westphalen. Give her a round of applause, too, because that's a job that is thankless. The treasurer is Jack Berrigan. And Jack is one of our two new board members. The other new board members, Rock Tonko. And the other two people with us are Bob DeWaters and Catherine McKenzie. Same there. So that's our group. Now, I am going to go down the agenda as well as I can. This is my first shot at things, so bear with me. Evidently, there's been some use of our telephone directory, email directory, to do various types of solicitation. We'd prefer that not happen. The reason we know this is we got complaints from a couple of folks that had moved in and said, geez, they thought that they didn't need any more phone calls than they had. So I do request that people not do solicitations. It's easy enough. You pick up the phone book or the email book, etc. So we are asking that people refrain from that. Introduction to new residents. The only new residents that I have here are John and Joyce McPherson. Do they happen to be here today? I know they were moving in yesterday and the day before, so I'm not sure. I gave them a call and asked if they would have a chance to come, but they are not. They're in the new villas, 2475. So if you meet them, say hi and let them know that they are welcome here. Association goals. We haven't quite figured out or concurred on association goals, so I'm going to give you some of my personal goals and see where they go. When I ran for office 2 years ago, I'd like to take a look at our whole corporate structure and is this the appropriate way to do things? Right now what we do is we have a general meeting. The board of directors, though, does have a planning meeting, which everybody's invited to. It's the not the immediate Friday, but it's the next Friday after a board meeting. In other words, the board meetings are on Wednesday. It's not that next Friday, but the one after that. It will be March the 10th this week. It's up in the third floor of the H building. It's, I think, called their card room. So anybody that would like to attend is certainly welcome to attend. We try and get a lot of the work done in that meeting and then bring it here. So one of my goals was to see if people were satisfied with that form or would like another form of how we run our resident association. We represent all you, so whether that's the best form or not, I'm not sure. One of the other things we're working toward and is to try and figure out how the committees should relate to the board. Right now, most of the committees are truly independent, which is contrary to our bylaws. So we've got to figure out what's the best way to have the committee structure that will strengthen both the committees and our board. And that's kind of a tricky thing, but we're going to be attacking that. One of my most favorite things that I would like to do is develop a joint finance committee with the East Group. And the reason for that is that the legislation that created resident boards in all CCRCs indicates that you get one person to sit in on boards of directors if they don't make decisions, they're not part of the board of directors, but they are able to sit in if there's a consideration of a change in either services or in how much we're going to pay. Corporate, yeah. In our case, it's a corporate board of directors. Many of the CCRCs are freestanding CCRCs, and a number of others of them are part of a corporate structure such as we are. So I'm hoping to be able to do that. The statute is Statute 651, and really it was the one that created this. The leader of that was the former mayor of Putnam. Not Putnam, I'm sorry, I'm going back to where I used to live. The former mayor of Vero Beach. So there we go. Just to give you a little bit of my background, because it may be helpful when you think about where I'm going at times. First, I want you to know I'm reasonably deaf, so that if you're talking to me, particularly on the left-hand side, I'm totally deaf. And like any person with one ear, I can't tell direction where sound's coming from. If you're talking on the right-hand side, I still am not particularly, can't hear that well. So if you do talk with me, and I'd love to have you talk with me, just know that I have that handicap. So if I ask you time and time again what you said, it's not because you're not clearly speaking. So I wanted to mention that. I am a former CEO of a hospital and a hospital system, and many of the issues that come up here are very similar to what we saw. And I can tell you that during the pandemic, they did a great job. They, being Erlen and all the people here, did a great job. I was so delighted that I was not working during that pandemic. They did not have to use what we call visiting nurses, which you pay a ton of money for. they also continued to get great reviews from the state. So, and they fed us well. So I think they did a great job during the pandemic. So some of the goals, other goals that I had were to try and work to see that new residents were able to get incorporated into our whole system rapidly. I also want to somehow, and probably a committee with some of the expertise we have here, address some of the technology issues that come up often, and see if we can work to improve that. I also hope that we can somehow work with corporate acts to become more partners and not adversaries. And I'm talking about the corporate acts that we hope we can do that. So those are kind of my goals that I'm working with the board on, and the board has some other suggestions, and we'll carry on and try and keep you updated on that. So, okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk about were the financials. As many of you know, well, I initially asked if somebody from corporate would like to talk about it, and they said no, they did that in July. And I went back to the July, and sure enough, they did. We are not making money, and that should be no surprise. Neither are many places through the pandemic. So we're going to continue to monitor and try and work to see that we reverse that without it coming too much out of all our residents' pockets. One of the major things that really has to happen, and I hope is accelerated, is to get people into empty facilities. Every month that somebody isn't there, although there are some that are paying the maintenance fee, that isn't there, that's $6,000 a month that is not generated. So we hope that we'll be able to help if we can to get that moving along. So at any rate, those are my comments. And Carolyn, our chief executive director, your turn.
Well, you said a lot, and welcome to the new board members. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, everyone, for coming out to this important meeting. I don't have a lot, only because we have our Ask the Director meeting that will be coming up shortly, and I don't want to spoil any of those surprises. But I do have a couple of things that I'd like to share with you. One being, I know that Chuck mentioned that all will be welcome to attend the planning meeting. I just want to make sure that that space is going to be large enough. So if you need a larger space, then we can talk about it. I'm not sure.
I would love for that to happen.
Yeah, because I think the capacity for that room is only about 10, and that won't be large enough.
Very much, but we used to offer people that for FLICRA, and it really didn't become.
Okay, so if you do need a larger space, then we'll need to talk about that, just so that we're in compliance with fire code. We don't want anyone packed into a room. The other thing, and this is really hot off the press, I just finished a conversation with the business office manager at Advanced Foot and Ankle. We do have a podiatrist that is now agreeable to provide his services here on campus to our independent living residents. We're still in the process of working out all of the details. Sign-up sheets, the actual days by which the podiatrist will be here with the assistant, But I'm hopeful that before the end of the week, I'll be able to get the notice out to all of our residents, along with the process by way to sign up. We do hope that the continuation of going door to door will be helpful. That's something that I expressed to the physician or to the podiatrist that will be coming here. So hopefully that will remain status quo. So ideally, I like to have a visit at East or West. I don't know who's first or who's second, at both locations twice a month. So we'll have him come here once on campus, here at West, and that will include the villas. And then over at East, another day during the month. We're looking at tentatively, and I'm going to say this tentatively, until you get the official notice, the dates are not set in stone. So the third and fourth Wednesday of each month, okay? So one day he'll be here doing the house calls, and then the other day he'll be at East doing the house calls. So more information to come on that. I know that I've gotten a lot of phone calls and emails and inquiries about when we were going to have a podiatrist commit. It wasn't an easy process because, you know, not a lot of them want to do house calls, first of all, and not a lot of them want to come out of the office by which they provide their services. So very thankful that this podiatrist is agreeable to come on campus. The other thing is we do have a final candidate for our technology analyst for IT that will be coming on board on March 17th. It happens to be an employee that was already here, so we promoted from within. I will be posting that bio before the end of the week as well. So you'll be able to see who it is and the credentials at the bulletin boards. Other than that, I don't have anything. This is not my meeting. This is the resident meetings, but I do welcome you to come to the next Ask the Director meeting if you have any specific questions about anything unrelated to the resident association. But I'll stick around for questions.
Okay.
I know there's a date outside on the bulletin, but that may change.
Okay.
So go by the bulletin date for now until there's another notice, because this month we are obligated to have a quarterly town hall. So I'm in the process of coordinating that date with George Bryan because it has to happen this quarter. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions? That would be,
What, Pat?
yeah.
I'm sorry. I should have said that. 1:30. And as Erilyn said, we don't have a lot of room in there, and so if a lot of people would like to come, I know Roger opened it up when you were there, so if a lot of people come, then we're going to have a different room. But let's not worry about that. Love to have you. So, okay. Therese, want to tell us all the great things that are going to happen? I know we're going to the baseball game.
Good morning. Okay, so March, we have a lot of stuff going on, and it kind of sneaked up on us because February was kind of a short month. So first off, Al is not here today, Birch told. So I'm here to remind you that this Thursday, March 2nd, 9 to noon, in G216, we are having the new to you sale. There's a lot of good items. There's a nice new white couch up there, if anybody is in need of a nice couch. And a lot of golf balls, so if you need golf balls. Also, there was a typo in the newsletter, and I sent out an email this morning. It is on the Art Guild's Michelangelo lecture. It is Monday, March 6th, not the 7th. So Monday, March 6th at 7 o'clock in the West NPR. Chris Vasilino will be our lecturer. You'll see on your calendar that Tuesday is going to be a new resident social. That's by invite only. So our newer residents that did not or could not make the one that we just recently had last month at East will be invited to go to that one over here at 3:30 in the West NPR. We are also having our gala fundraiser bake sale, and we've got a lot of residents baking up some goodies. You'll see this in your mail rooms. It's for a very good cause, and they're gonna have a lot of scrumptious pies, cookies, cakes, and it'll be out here in the lobby on March 8th, which is Wednesday, from 10 to 12, so make sure you bring your cash down. And I think they even might accept a check benefiting the gala fundraiser, so keep that in mind. That's March 8th, Wednesday. The Adams Ranch tour bus is full, so you'll see that sign up. They are having another one, and it's gonna be on April 14th, but it's not posted, it's too early. Anybody who is on the waiting list for that, we're automatically gonna put you on the April 14th date. But if you don't want to, that doesn't work for you, the date doesn't work for you, then just call me or scratch your name off the list when I do put it out and tell me I can't attend that. So we'll leave a space for someone new to come in. The Yale Spinswinks bus is going out on the 12th. Oh, you can't hear me? Sorry. Okay. Yale Spinswinks bus will be going out on the 12th. If you haven't signed up for that, I think there's room left. Okay, and then on 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, that is St. Patty's Day week, we will have our gala raffle. And you'll see these in the hallway and on the bulletin boards. 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, from 4:30 to 6 p.m., $1 a chance or 7 for 5, bring cash or check. Winner announced on St. Patty's Day. We are having the gala fundraiser bake sale, I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up. The gala raffle basket will be out this afternoon, and it'll be in the office on display. If you're interested, an East basket as well went out. And keep in mind that all the money for that is going to your gala fundraiser. So, like, even if you're really not interested in really winning the basket, you are supporting a good cause. Then on the 14th, it's Ask the Director, birthday night. We have Norm Giano on the piano. And then we have Charlie Q. He's going to be doing Irish music. He's very good at the Irish type of pub songs. He'll be here on the 16th at 4:30 in the lobby. R.J. LaMarche will be DJing that Friday on St. Patrick's Day, so come on down and wear your green. Western Night is on the 21st. We will be decorating a little bit for that, and the theme in the culinary will be Western Night. And singer Carlo Lanzan again, he does a lot of Western tunes, he'll be here. Thrive Screening, for those who want to get an update on how they're doing, just call Lisa McNeil, and she will hook you up with a couple of tests that you may want to help you out. Let's see, sales event will be in here on the 23rd. That really doesn't apply to any of you, just know that that's what's going on that date. And we are having a VNA music therapy presentation, will be on the 28th. So those of you who have, spouses or even friends that have memory problems, and you think that this might be beneficial to helping your spouse, loved one, or friend, come on down and check it out. They have a music therapy people that will give you ideas on how to open up the portals of the mind and strike up some memories. So Lunch Bunch is late this month, sorry. We are going to Sean Ryan's Pub, and that'll be on the 30th. We are having a little trouble with bus transportation. One of our buses is down, so just keep in mind, if you have anything special that you need a bus for, please talk to Kathy Hullen, and she'll let you know what's going on as far as that. I think we pretty much covered everything. Oh, wait, one more, 30th. Harry gets off our presenter on all things pertaining to entertainment. He will be doing the Mills Brothers and the Four Kings of Harmony. It sounds very interesting, and he'll be here on the 31st, Friday the 31st. And that's it. Thank you.
Therese, did you mention Romeo's?
I don't have I have a date. It's always the same date, but we don't have a destination yet. So once we have it, it'll be put out.
Okay,
Okay.
what's the date, just to,
The date is always the third Thursday, is it? Let's see. Yes, third Thursday, the 16th. It'll be March
Okay.
16th.
16th of March?
Yes, any of you fellows want to get out there and have lunch?
Yeah.
And get away from the missus,
Just,
like the
just
missus like to
giving
get
it
away
a
from you.
little bit of publicity there. Okay.
Okay.
It's really a nice group, so.
Yes. Okay, thanks, everyone. Any questions? No? Okay.
Okay, thank you. I was just gonna introduce her. She stole my microphone, okay. We want the secretary's report, and Sally, I'm gonna pass it down to her. but-
We're really well organized, aren't we? Secretary's report. That means that I have to say the February minutes were approved by the board and they have been posted into a book in the library. If you're interested in any of the old minutes of this organization, they're all in the library for many, many years. So that's where it goes when it leaves here. The minutes for today will be posted on your bulletin board for the next month, and then they will go into that place. And if anybody wants me to send the minutes individually, please let me know your email. Thank you. And one other thing, do come to the bake sale. It is going to be super terrific. We've got a whole bunch of lovely people, men and women, who bake wonderful things, whole, half, cookies, whatever. That's next Wednesday, a week from today, from 10 to 12. Thank you.
And somebody's pointing at some. Can't hear her. Oh, is it being recorded? Is that what the question, I can't hear.
Did you want to repeat that?
I was asking if this meeting was going to be broadcast on 95. If so, when?
Next week,
Because it wasn't last month.
next week.
Okay. Therese, can you answer that?
It'll be next week,
Next
on
week?
the calendar next week.
Okay.
Okay? Probably around Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay?
Very good. Okay. Report from our treasurer, Jack Berrigan.
I'll stand up, and I don't need a microphone. Hi, I'm Jack Berrigan.
You gotta turn it on, Jack.
I'm Jack Berrigan. I normally don't need a microphone. First, I want to thank Bob DeWinter, who did a great job being treasurer last time under adverse conditions. Yeah, good hand. There is no treasurer's report simply because the bank is inept. And between Jim Shawner and myself, we're working on it. But you'll get one next month.
Okay. Okay. George Flykra.
Thank you, Chuck. The FLYCRA moment for this month is basically the legislative session for Florida begins on Tuesday. It will then be 60 consecutive days, so it will end on May the 5th. I've mentioned before what looks like some of the things that are going to be discussed. Insurance, primarily insurance because of lawsuits that has really escalated the cost of insurance. Parental rights is going to be there, Florida borders, integrity of collegiate sports is there, anticipated. Of course, one of the things that the governor just signed the other day was the Reedy Creek District, and that's been resolved to the benefit of the governor, anyway. Other people don't like it. And possible changes in 651. Now, I've mentioned 651 at this meeting and at the FLICRA annual meeting, and Chuck has mentioned it again today. And a number of people have come to me and said, why don't you say a little bit more about 651? What is it? 651 goes back to 1977, and it was a piece of legislation that addressed the rights of residents in CCRCs. And at the same time, it established some requirements and obligations on the part of providers. That sounds a tad adversarial, and it really is not. It is for the mutual benefit of everyone. And both the providers in Florida and the residents of CCRCs. I'll talk more about that. I don't want to get into the grass and go down a rabbit hole today, but I will say this. There's 54 different sections of 651, and they address primarily at the beginning of the 54, things like definition, forms that have to be filled out, fees, but there are about 5 or 6 sections that really affect and are for the benefit of residents. One has to do with our residents' council. One has to do with rights of us all. Another has to do with the obligations that the provider has for quarterly meetings. What if there are differences? There is an established system for resolving differences. So I thought what I would do is let it go at that, and next month I'll pick on 61.081, and that is the section that has to do with our residents' council, residents' board. I thought what I would do is talk about 0.082, which affects our rights. Then in May 17th, if you can think about this and put it on your calendar, we will have here Bennett Napier, who is the state executive director of FLICRA, who will talk about 651 and any changes that the legislature may have come up with during this 60-day period. So, any questions? Yeah, Bob.
Would you tell people how to access 651 on their computer, iPad, cell phone, whatever?
Sure. Do everybody hear his question? How do you access? How do you look into 651 if you want to? You can go into Florida statute, just plug it right into your iPhone, Florida statute 651, and it'll give you more information than you ever want to know. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. It would not surprise me if we didn't have a call to action. What a call to action is, and we did this a few years ago when Medicare was trying to eliminate our exclusion of Medicaid tax. A call to action means that what we need is everybody here to write and sign and get with their legislators. We generally write a letter that a lot of people sign. Some people signed them themselves. Some people wrote themselves. Some people called the legislators. It was very effective. It allowed us to not have what amounts to a bed tax from Medicaid that we pay. Simple as that. So we may well have that happen again. I'm just kind of forewarning, but we will need everybody's cooperation if that happens. Okay. Not on the schedule, but certainly welcome. Jane Weiss would like to talk very quickly about recycling. You got it? Good.
Good morning. I'm Jane Wise, and I'm part of the Building and Grounds Committee. And my large interest is, of course, recycling. I want to tell you about a website that is quite good and quite educational. It is called IRC Recycles. And I'll put this out, ircrecycles.com. And it has all sorts of information about recycling and other forms, everything that has to do with landfills and getting rid of rusted metal objects, old stoves. But the main thing that I'm interested in, and you too, because recycling is such an important part of our work here and our lives. So there are even games. Now, one of the things that I ran into this morning when I was on the website is a fascinating thing. Do you happen to know the largest or the tallest land mass in Indian River County? Actually, it is the landfill, the IRC landfill, that if you drive between here and Fort Pierce on I-95, you can see the landfill, which we lovingly call, or laughingly call, Trash Mountain. It is a very complex process. And you can even go there, which I would like to do. I haven't done it. The second thing I'd like to tell you about is this. We have been very successful here in West for continuing to recycle plastic items, or actually just like the Publix bags, the plastic bags. It's just an amazing work that we're doing. East just gave up on it, but we have been successful so far because we have people that work in every part of the G building, all 3 floors. We have someone who goes to where we have the recycling and picks up the plastic bags and takes them to Publix. And so thank you for those people. And I have the list, and if you see them, tell them thank you. And I won't give the names right now because it's a little bit involved in too many names. But I also want to tell you, let's start using the bags that you can take to the grocery store and get your groceries in those. We have such a mountain of plastic bags that we can't recycle. So we've been trying to do our best to get them to Publix. But if you have a Publix bag or a Walmart bag or wherever you do your grocery shopping, start using that again, please. Now, if you are using a brown bag and you're taking a brown bag to the blue recycling bin, look in it first to be sure it's got the right items. If you see this, what do? You toss that. It's not recyclable. Styrofoam is not recyclable. If you see this, what do? It is recyclable, but first you have to, this is great. It's so much fun doing this. This is easy. To very quickly undo this. Well, here we go. Quickly undo it and then get it ready to put in the recyclables. Take the inner bag out. This inner bag has now changed. It's recyclable, not in the recyclable blue bin, but you can put it in with the plastic bags to take to Publix. Because it used to have a lot of wax on it. Now it's practically doesn't have wax on it. So these are some things I'd like to tell you about. If you have any questions, please ask me. I may not be able to answer them right away, but I can certainly find out the answer for you. I have some things to give. I have the blue bags from Indian River County that shows it's a wonderful bag. I have several of these. It's a wonderful bag that you can use for your recyclables. It has inside all the information about recycling that we need. And if you haven't gotten one of these in the past, or if you're new especially, or even fairly new, or kind of new, please ask me for one if you would like one. Thanks, Chuck.
Okay,
Thank
you, Jane. Okay. What I hope people will do is, rather than, if you have something that you'd like to bring up at the meeting, please get in touch with me, or my phone number's in the book, and so that we can schedule things before the meeting. If you can't get hold of me, there's a box right across from the administration office, and it says Resident Association. Put your idea in the Resident Association. One of the things I would like to do is, if people have questions about things, that rather than bringing them up and kicking them around and coming to no conclusion, I would like to have us be able to come back with whatever the question was, and try and give a resolution or at least an update on the information. So if you could use that box, that's probably the easiest. I've got a telephone, leave it on my phone. I may discover it. I'm not very good at, for some reason, at some of that stuff. So probably the best way is to make sure it gets in that bag. So, okay. Is there anything anybody else would like to raise right now? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a little pic, if I can look there. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good morning. I asked the vice president, but he obviously didn't tell the president that I wanted to say something. I just wanted to remind you that the gala is coming. It's next month. And pretty soon we'll be getting the invites into your cubbies. So we'll be delivering the invitations to your cubbies. So when you get the invitations, start thinking about, and you can start thinking now about who you'd like to be at your table, picking a host that's going to do the communication of who wants to be at the table and getting the checks to us and all that kind of stuff. We want to encourage tables of 8. We have 1 million tables of 8. So the more people you can gather to your table, the better. And if you need help with that, we can help you with that. We are not asking for any help to do silent auctions and things like that. We're just not going to have any this year. We've had a few fundraising events already. We had a couple of movies. We had a karaoke night. We had a Valentine's raffle. And in case you didn't pick up on it yet, next week we're having a bake sale. That's a joke. Okay. Okay. And there'll be one more raffle for St. Patrick's Day. And then on the day of the gala, we're just going to have a big 50-50. So we've got a bucket this big for a 50-50 raffle, and that's going to be our major fundraising effort for the gala, besides your buying your tickets and any donations that we would gladly welcome that you give. So I just wanted to remind you of that. So because you don't have to have and go out and beg for money, and you just might want to always keep a couple of dollars in your pocket in case you run into a raffle or a bake sale or something like that, you'll be ready. So thank you very much. See you at the gala.
Okay, thank you. And keep that date in mind, and that is one of our real fundraisers. Yes, ma'am.
I want to ask the board, our resident board, to please encourage management to publish the newsletter for everyone and put it in our cubbies. Not everyone has a computer. Not everyone can come down and pick up a printed copy. We need you saw everybody at the podium looking at their calendars. We need to get this physical.
Thank you very much for that comment. We'll get back to you next month on that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Wait for the mic.
I'd just like I have two items. One is to second the suggestion that the newsletter be published. I think I don't think it saves enough money to pay for the inconvenience that it causes everyone. And I think that it speaks well for our community to have a newsletter, and I think it speaks very poorly for the community not to have the newsletter. I have the second item, which may not be the appropriate forum for it, but I would just like to know, I am a resident, Jerry Stone, a resident of the H building, and the outside window washing left our apartment with worse windows than before they tried to wash it. I mean,
Okay.
it is something that we're trying to live with. Did others, am I alone in this, or did others have this experience?
I've heard that more than once.
All right.
We need to set up a system for issues like that, and we'll look into that.
Well, I have written 2 memoranda to the management here, the maintenance management here, and I've heard no reply from them.
Okay,
So-
that'll be something that we'll have on the agenda next month. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
Chuck, I just want to remind everybody the Art Guild has a new display out there if you want to take a look at all the new artwork, okay?
We are really fortunate, my editorial comment, to have the kind of art we have around here. It blows my mind. So there we go. Hey, yep. Yeah.
My name is Mike Beecham. Hello. My wife and I moved here about two and a half years ago, and I began asking people if there's a need for a loss grief support group. And everyone answered in the affirmative. So I contacted recently Chad, our chaplain, to see if the two of us could facilitate a loss grief support group. And he was very interested. So we had our first one on the 20th of last month, and we're going to continue doing this on a monthly basis. And if you spread the word, I'd appreciate it very much. And the next one, I'm not sure of the exact date, it'd be 4 weeks after the 20th of last month. I didn't look at my calendar before I arrived here. But what is it? It'll be the same. It's same, okay. And it'll be at 10:30, the second floor of H, in one of the meeting rooms, a card room, I think it's called. At any rate, please spread the word, because apparently there's a real need for it. 10:30 in the morning, and we had a terrific turnout. By terrific, 8 or 9 people turned out, and that surprised me. I didn't expect the first meeting to be that well received, but anyone who has anyone experiencing a loss, and they need to process the loss or grieve the loss. Are you talking about a death? Could be a death. It could be a loss of income, loss of good health. Anything construed as a loss, anything. And loss of good health, I mean, any number of different losses. I taught a course in the university for 20 years on that very subject, and virtually everyone is experiencing losses at one time or another in their lives. And so anyhow, we welcome anyone who would be interested. So please spread the word.
Okay, let's make sure that appears on the calendar and is posted. Thank you, Chad.
It's posted on the board.
Yes.
There we go. Is Lee McGow here today? Oh, Lee, could you tell everybody about our committee and no? Okay, but I know that our committee does address problems like the windows and other things around the building every month. So we'll get back to you. Thanks, Lee.
Yep.
I've been working on that issue, and from now on, we're planning to have the chairperson of the committees make presentations to this group on a rotating basis, probably 2 or 3 times a year. And I think that we'll concentrate on the major committees where there are problems that need to be resolved. And I hope that that makes a difference in terms of how solutions are arrived at, and that you'll be totally informed about what's going on. And Lee will make the first report at the next session. Thank you, Lee.
Anything else people like to do? Okay. Whoops, Lee.
Rather than a meeting or invocations, anyone who has any questions about building and grounds, you know who I am. We have representatives in every building. You should know who they are. And that's how you get in touch with us. You need this on the video? For building and grounds, everyone knows that the buildings are represented by individual residents of those buildings. You should know who your representative is. If you don't, come next month and I'll tell you. Meanwhile, the meetings themselves are open and they're held Thursdays at 1 o'clock in the H building, first floor, if you want to stop by. If you have any other questions about what this committee covers, see me or one of the other representatives. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, thank you, Lee. There's one. Oh, is there anybody else that has anything to? Okay, we're done.